Namaste dear children. Last session we started to learn about the prosa, whatever we do. In this prosa we came to know how we need to communicate with the others, especially from the point of impressing the opponent during the course of our speaking. It is not only related to verbal communication, even the author clearly tells that some sort of formalities we need to utilize during the course of speaking as well as during the course of our writing. When we will make use of such things, then what happens? It becomes an effective speech of us, or as well as when we will consider about the writing, then the readers are going to impress by the way how we are going to write by making use of the language in an effective manner. Everyone used to speak, but the way how someone is going to speak in front of us, that thing is most important one. Because probably you might have observed in televisions, many people used to give speech, especially the orators, what we used to call them. But all orators are not going to be appreciated by the listeners. Only few orators are going to be appreciated by the listeners. So, if we want to become an effective speaker, then what we need to do? We need to use the language for greater extent. That is the important gist of this particular prose. And here the author took the example of communication related to his previous company where he was working, as well as related to an auto driver's communication, as well as how the people used to behave with the beggars. All those instructions or else all those examples he quoted for the purpose of our better comprehension. Now I am going to continue the prose. I finished the 9th passage in the page number 76. Now I am going to start this prose from page number 76's 10th passage or paragraph. See that. We have a number of notices, instructions and orders like no parking, no smoking, no admission, visitors cars not allowed, and so on and so forth. Don't these terms sound rather rough? True, people are trying to be brief because brevity is a genuine need in such public notices. But we have seen that at least in the case of smoking, people have made some innovation. Nowadays they write, thank you for not smoking. In this particular passage, the author tells us how roughly we people used to behave. Because just go through the quotes which the author has mentioned in this particular passage or paragraph. See that. We have a number of notices, instructions and orders like no smoking, no parking, no admission, visitors cars are not allowed, and so on and so forth. That means such type of instructions or orders or else notices we used to see everywhere, especially in the premises of theaters, in schools and college premises, as well as in government office premises. Everywhere we used to see, and in hotels, in restaurants, everywhere we used to see such type of notices or orders or else instructions. But what the author tells here is no smoking, visitors cars are not allowed, and then no parking. These words obviously used to tell or else obviously used to show roughness in them. Instead of making use of such rough words through language, whether it may be during the course of our speaking, whether it may be placing certain holdings in a particular place, what the author wishes, the language which we are going to use to give order or instructions or else notices, those words should be in an effective manner. We should not use rough words. Instead of making use of rough words or rough language, what we need to do, we need to make use of requesting words, or else we need to make use of some smooth words for the public. This is the intention of the author, what he is going to tell in this particular passage. He himself tells, instead of making use of short words, why the people make use of such type of rough words means just to concise. Brevity means here nothing but concise. In other words, nothing but short form. Means for the purpose of deducting the words or for the purpose of making use of only few words, what we used to do, we used to make use of rough language. Instead of giving importance for conciseness, instead of giving importance for using minimum words, we can make use of maximum words, or without curtailing the words, what we need to do, we need to use the language in a systematic way as well as in a polite manner. Then what happens, everyone are going to consider that notice or instruction or else that order in a positive manner. Then they are going to obey that order or instruction or else notice. When we are going to use language roughly, then the people are going to neglect it, and then they are going to do the same thing what we are going to tell not to do in that particular premises. It is the wish. That's what the author tells us. See there, people have and in continuation he tells nowadays some people have made certain innovations. That means they made the language in a polite manner. They innovated something else instead of no smoking. What the people uses or what type of hoardings we are going to see there. See there, thank you for not smoking. That means instead of no smoking area, if someone is going to put a hoarding there, thank you for not smoking, then what happens? It used to impress the public, those who will come for that in that place for the purpose of smoking. This is the intention of the author. Means in this particular passage, what we need to understand, during the course of communication, whether it may be in a verbal manner or whether it may be in a written manner, we need to make use of smooth language instead of rough language, because we know it is human tendency. If someone is going to come and pass an order in a very rough manner, means we are not going to consider. We will neglect that order or instruction or else that notice. Instead of rough notice or order or instruction, if someone is going to come and ask us in a polite manner, will you please do this? Will you please stop smoking here? Will you please don't park the car here? Please remove your car because this area belongs to a particular officer's car. Then what happens? The public or else that person is going to realize the importance of that instruction, or else he is going to realize the importance of that order and he is going to obey that order. So what we need to do here is, children, we should not use rough language. For example, when you people used to communicate with your own friends for the purpose of borrowing a notes or else something else from your friend, if you people are going to ask very roughly, then they won't entertain your request. If you will request in a very polite manner, in a smooth manner, then 100% they are going to obey your request and they will fulfill your request. That's why what we need to do here is, instead of using rough language, we need to make use of simple as well as smooth language during the course of our communication. Next, can't we try to use better terms in other cases also? I am not suggesting that in every case we should say thank you for. We can think of innovative methods to make our orders, instructions and notices sound more polite, more polished. In South India, some restaurants are famous for the tasty fare they offer. Naturally, therefore, they have big rush and it is a problem for the management. In one such restaurant, I saw a board, "Don't sit here for a long time." How odd can they not say the same thing in better words? Luckily, I saw in another place a board, "Please make room for waiting customers." In yet another place, I saw notice which read, "Kindly make room for waiting friends." In this passage also, the author tells us how politely, that means by making use of gentle language, how we can make the public to realize the importance of that particular place or particular time. What we need to do, always we should not tell thank you. Instead of thank you, we need to innovate. That means we need to invent or we need to find some other alternative language for the purpose of conveying our gratitude or for the purpose of revealing our gratitude for the others. See that. Can't we try to use better terms in other cases also? Not only in the case of parking. In many other cases also we need to make use of innovative language, especially smooth as well as polite language during the course of speaking, or else during the course of putting certain hoardings or certain boards in restaurants or in some other places. That's what the author tells here. Thank you for we can think of innovative methods to make our orders, instructions and notices sound more polite, more polished. That means when we will pass orders or instructions or notices, at that time polite means what? Gentle. We need to make use of a polite form of language for the purpose of giving our orders, instructions and then notices for the public. Then what happens? They are going to impress by our orders or instructions or notices and they are going to obey. See that. In South India, some restaurants are famous for the tasty fare. Fare means here, dear children, nothing but tasty food or tasty dish. You people know. Particularly few restaurants are going to be appreciated and appreciated especially for the purpose of the tasty food what they used to offer for their customers. And usually where tasty food used to be available, there we are going to see maximum customers. In such occasions what they used to do, they used to put certain hoardings on the table or certain instructions or certain orders on the table. In one such restaurant in South India, what the author notices, see, he himself tells that that board was or that order was very odd to see and read. Why? He only tells, see that. Naturally, therefore, they have big rush and it is a problem for the management. In one such restaurant, I saw a board, don't sit here for a long time. It is not the proper way of giving instructions for the customers. Don't sit here for a long time means the customers used to take that one in a negative manner and they used to sit for a long time. It is not the way of giving instructions for the customers, those who are going to come for that particular restaurant. This is the opinion of author and even it is true also. Why? He only tells how odd, it looks too ugly. It is not a way of conveying the thing to the customers. Instead of telling like this, how? Don't sit here for a long time. It is not the way of telling to the customers. Instead of telling like this, how one can tell, he himself notices some other boards in some other restaurants where even the management failed to manage the customers. What sort of boards they kept on the table? See that. Luckily, I saw in another place a board of please make room for waiting customers. In yet another place, I saw a notice which read kindly make room for waiting friends. That means after having your dinner or after having your food, kindly make room for your friends or else kindly make room for other customers, those who are waiting to have their food by sitting in this place. Then what happens after finishing their dinner or after finishing their food, what the customers used to do, they will realize how we people came to have food. In the same manner, some other customers are also waiting. We finished our food, then what we need to do? We need to move away from this place. This is how we need to make use of the language for the purpose of keeping boards in hotels as well as in restaurants. It is the wish of the author, and in general when we will think, he is absolutely right, because when the language is going to be used in a rough manner, then the customers are going to take that one as a challenge. Then they are going to do the same thing which the management or else which the restaurant will not wish to or will not expect from the customers. Instead of making use of rough language, when we will use the smooth language or else polite or gentle language, then obviously the customers are going to realize the importance of that particular thing and they are going to entertain that instruction or entertain that notice or order in favor of the restaurants. This is what the author tells us. Dear children, what here we need to understand is using the language in a polite manner is very, very important, and there whenever we are going to pass an order through polite language, then 100% we are going to see the positive result. If we will not use polite language, instead of polite language, if we will use rough language, means we are going to get a negative result. If we will use polite language, means 100% we are going to see the positive result. This is what the author tells in these two 10th and 11th passages. Next. It is our practice to be brief while sending telegrams. Nowadays, telegrams has been withdrawn from the government itself as mobile phones, SMS, and then some other social medias became too advanced technology what we are going to see in the present society. Because of that, telegram was withdrawn by the central government. But before few years means 15-20 years back, telegram is the only one media which is used for the purpose of sending the emergency messages from one place to another place. Through post office, everyone used to put it or else send the telegrams in an emergency situation. But nowadays, telegram has been withdrawn few years back, 3-4 years back. It has been withdrawn from the government itself as no one is utilizing that media. So here, when the telegram used to be there, how the people used to use the language in a very odd manner, that thing the author is going to tell in this particular passage. It is our practice to be brief while sending telegrams. Here again the reason is brevity. Brevity means, as I said, conciseness or else making use of short form of language. We want to say words in order to cut costs. So, if someone wants to request his brother to receive him at the station, he might send a telegram somewhat like this. Reaching Mumbai, Thursday stop, Shatabdi stop, mid station. That means when someone is going to send the telegram for his brother or sister or father or parents, and the intention of sending the telegram is to come and pick him from the station, just for the purpose of saving money, because in telegram how many words we are going to put, the cost is going to be decided on the basis of the words which we are going to use in that telegram. So what the people used to do during that time, or else what they did means, for the purpose of saving money, they used to use the language in a very abrupt manner. They never ever used the language in a systematic way or else in a polite manner. Always they utilized the language for their convenience, for the purpose of saving money. That's what the author tells here. How a person is going to put a telegram for his brother means, see that, reaching Mumbai Thursday, Shatabdi mid station. It tells that, please come and pick me from railway station on Thursday. They can quote the time also. But instead of using the language in a requesting manner, in a polite language, what they used to do, just for the purpose of saving the money, they kills the language or they killed the language during the time of telegram. See that, reaching Mumbai Thursday, Shatabdi mid station. The reader need to understand that the person is coming to Mumbai on Thursday by Shatabdi Express. He need to calculate himself or need to inquire someone that at what time the Shatabdi Express is going to reach Mumbai. By that time he need to go to the railway station to pick his brother or sister. This is what the people did while sending the telegrams, and the author comments that it is the very abrupt way of putting the telegrams or sending the telegrams. Now, just for the sake of one single word, the telegram has become totally devoid. Devoid means empty. Devoid means what? Empty of any courtesy. That means there is no courtesy at all. What they need to do is they need to request, you please come and pick me from station. That politeness should be there. But that politeness is not only there in this telegram. What could be the additional cost of adding please? That means when someone is going to put telegram like this, they need to add at least please. Please come to station, or please meet me in the station. It tells us that the person is having courtesy of requesting me to come and pick. But there is no request at all. It is nothing but an abrupt order for his brother or anyone else. This is what the author tells. Nowadays, the telegram has been relegated. Relegated means less importance, children. But here, in this context, it is less important. Relegate means less important. But in reality, nowadays means few years back itself, the central government has been withdrawn the telegram service as no one is utilizing telegram because social medias are playing vital role. WhatsApp is there, Snapchat is there, many more things came to society by the help of the improved technology, and no one started to make use of telegram facility. So the central government decided to withdraw the telegram facility from the post offices and they withdrawn it. Relegated to the background due to the coming of the telephone and the internet. That's what I said. Because of cell phones, because of ample use of mobile phones and telephones, and even the internet facility also started to available for each and everyone. So everyone started to neglect the telegram. So the government has decided to close that facility, and it did so. But have we solved the issue of courtesy? Don't we see, or should I say here, people ask, who is this? Instead of saying, may I know who is calling, please? In a certain book on communication, I found a very interesting method of asking who is calling. If you call Mr. Patel in his office, his secretary will receive the call, and before connecting to Mr. Patel, she would want to know who the caller is so that she can inform the same to Mr. Patel. What does the secretary say? She does not say who's this, or even may I know who is calling, please. She says, can I tell Mr. Patel who is calling, please? The idea is this, you want to talk to Mr. Patel. I do not wish to know who you are, but I must tell Mr. Patel who is calling him. Therefore, I am requesting you to tell him who you are. That means, even during the course of communication, especially in cell phones, we people know if an unknown number, if a call is going to come from an unknown number, initially what we used to do, we used to ask, hey, who is this? Never ever we use the polite language, may I know who is this? Or else we need to ask, I didn't recognize who you are, may I know who is this? But instead of using the language in a smooth manner, what we people used to do, even if we will dial to an unknown, if we will dial to a person, and if our number is not saved in his cell phone, then what that person is going to do in the beginning itself, if we will ask, hello, is this Rakesh? Then they are going to tell, yeah, who is this? Who are you? If we will ask, am I speaking to Rakesh? I am asking you who you are. You dialed me. You first tell me who you are. Then I will tell who I am. This is how we people used to communicate in the cell phone or else in mobile phone. But the author tells very clearly that it is not the way of proper communication, or else it is not the way of using the language during the course of our speaking. Not only in telegrams, even in telephones or else in mobile phones also, we are using the language in a very abrupt manner, or else we are using the language in a very rough manner. Instead of that one, what we need to do, the author himself tells that he read a communication based book, how one need to involve in the course of communication, especially in multinational companies. Every manager or else the MNC owner used to have secretaries. Probably you people might have observed in some certain offices, if you want to go and approach an officer, before going to meet the officer, we need to meet and we need to get permission from their personal assistant or else from their secretary. In the same manner here, the author notices one important way of communication, and he quoted how one need to know who is calling on the phone. See there, what he is going to tell. He took the example of Mr. Patel's office. Because as I said, if I am the secretary of someone, I need to tell my boss that who is on line. If the opponent is going to reveal who is on the line, then it is possible for me to convey the same message to my boss or else my senior. So, what the secretary of Mr. Patel used to do, she need to know who is calling to him. But never ever she asked directly that who is calling or may I know who is this or who is this. Instead of asking like this, what she used to tell her, may I no, sorry, what she used to tell her, can I tell Mr. Patel who is calling him? That means I need to inform Mr. Patel that who wants to talk to him. If you will tell me your name and your identity, then I am going to inform the same thing to Mr. Patel. And even she makes very clear that nowhere I am interested that who you are. But my responsibility is to inform Mr. Patel that who wants to talk to him. So, will you please let me know who is on the line? Then what happens? The opponent realizes the importance of his identity and he is going to reveal his identity for the secretary, and the secretary is going to inform the same thing to the senior or else to her or to his boss. This is how one need to use the language. Indirectly or directly, we need to make the people to realize why we are asking that one. This is how the secretary used to do. That means here what the author wishes is making use of the language plays a vital role during the course of our communication. Whether it may be in a verbal manner or else whether it may be in a written manner, we need to use the language in a polite manner as well as in a systematic way. Then only the listener as well as the reader are going to impress and they are going to consider our order or our request in a positive manner. This is what the author tells in this passage also. Next, see that. Consider how we respond when someone says thank you to us. In the olden days, the people used to say, don't mention it. Later, people started using the phrase, it's all right. Nowadays, people say, you are welcome or simply welcome. That means how the language took modification time by time. How the time passes, the language is going to be polished in a very good manner. Before, if I am going to tell thank you for someone, then what the people used to tell? They used to tell, don't mention it. Means there is no need of thank you for this help or else for this work. It's okay. But later what happened? It's all right. Thank you means, oh, it's all right. Not an issue. It's my duty. I did. But nowadays what the people used to tell? You are welcome. Always you are welcome. And now they deducted 2 words and the people used to tell, if I am going to tell thank you, yeah, welcome. This is how the language one need to use for the purpose of expressing their gratitude. And if someone is going to express the gratitude in return, we also need to convey something. Then there is no issue. You are always welcome for such help or such work. And this is what we are witnessing in the present society, and the author tells the same thing. One method of improving our communication in others is to put you before I as far as possible. That means when we are going to communicate with someone else, at that time what we need to do? We need to use you instead of I. If I will use I, then what happens? The opponent may think that I am giving importance to importance to me only. I am not considering him. When we are going to use you, then the opponent is going to think that the person is giving more importance to me rather than him. This is how we need to impress the opponent. Consider some words like union, united, building, guiding, trusting, communication and so on. In these words, the letter U comes before the letter I. This indicates to us that we should try to put you, that is the other person, before I. If I wish to thank someone for the nice party, I can say, your party was so enjoyable, I thank you. Another instance, your letter made me very happy. That means in the given words, you is going to come before I. So, if you are going to thank someone, We can tell here, I thank you for your party, but it is not the fair manner or it is not the way of showing our gratitude. Your party was really enjoyable and I thank for your party. Then what happens? The word itself is going to catch the attention of that opponent. So what we need to do, instead of using I, always we need to utilize you or else your when we will start to communicate with someone. In the same manner, what even the author tells, your letter made me very happy. Instead of that one, we can also tell, I am really very happy by your letter. But I am really happy. There is no way of catching the attention of the opponent. Instead of putting I in the beginning itself, if we are going to tell your letter made me, that word itself sounds in a positive way and very easily we can catch the attention of the opponent. So, your letter made me very happy means the person is going to be impressed for greater extent. That's how we need to use the language in a systematic way, or else in other words, we need to use the language in a very effective manner. This is what the author tells. It may be noted that there is no limit to the improvement we can make in our action or speech. Nor can we say that a particular action or form of speech is the best. There is no formula. What is best may depend on the occasion and it may be possible to continuously make improvement. The whole idea is to be aware of the need and importance of saying things better and better. In the concluding passage, the author very clearly tells that there is no time and there is no restriction for improving the language. Depending upon the situation, depending upon the circumstances, what we need to do, we need to modify the language, we need to improve the language for greater extent. From best to better is very, very important. Good, better, and then best. From good, we need to move towards the better, and from better, we need to move towards the best. This is how we need to utilize the language in a systematic way as well as in an effective manner by improving ourselves depending upon the circumstance and then situations. This is how the author is going to conclude the prose. That means day by day, how we people used to grow, in the same manner, we need to improve our language both in written manner as well as in verbal manner. Whether it may be in the way of, in the course of our speaking, whether it may be in the course of our writing, we need to prove improvement in the usage of language. I hope you people understood this prose, children, and the HF of this particular session is you need to write the glossary of this prose twice in your HF. Thank you, dear children, and I will meet you in next session with another new concept. Have a nice day.